Welcome back to the Explainer, everyone. I'm stepping in as your head coach today because we are doing something really exciting. We are going to completely crack the code on Cambridge Afrikaans AS level essay writing. I want you to think of this session as your ultimate championship game film review. We're going to pull apart the examiner's defensive marking rubrics, look at the exact plays they're running, and build you an unbeatable offensive strategy. If you're tired of hitting a ceiling with your essay grades, well, you are in the exact right place. We are building this straight from the principal examiner reports, so lace up, get your head in the game, and let's get to work.
Okay, quick look at the game plan. We've got 4 quarters today. Section 1 covers the core principles. Section 2 is our procedural framework. Section 3 tackles those critical examiner warnings. And Section 4 is where we draw up your final strategy. Simple, direct, and incredibly effective. Let's dive in.
Starting off with Section 1, our core principles, also known as the examiner's blueprint.
Right away, we hit this massive question drawn straight from the scouting reports. Why is interpreting complex Afrikaans texts and data so notoriously hard for candidates? Look, whenever I review student tape, I always see 2 types of players. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Now, Alex plays heavy defense. Alex translates every single word perfectly, writes beautifully, but totally lacks open-ended analytical speed. Then there's Sam. Sam is a fast attacker, jumping straight into big arguments, but is incredibly sloppy on executing the actual command words in the prompt. Both of them are failing to realize that this isn't a translation exercise. It's a structural analytical breakdown. You have to combine Alex's precision with Sam's attack speed to actually dominate the text.
To do that, you have to dominate all 3 cognitive domains on the field. You've got knowledge and understanding, analysis and evaluation. Here's the truth. Most students just hang out in that first zone. They summarize the text, they show they understand the Afrikaans vocabulary, and they think they've scored. But you literally cannot get top-tier marks there. You have to push the ball down the field into analysis, breaking apart how and why the author built their argument. And to win the championship, you must step into that evaluation zone, where you're actually judging the validity and effectiveness of those points. If you're not playing in all 3 domains, you're just leaving easy marks on the table.
And here is the ultimate secret play, straight from the top examiners. The candidates who actively reference cross-topic connections are the ones achieving significantly higher marks. It's like a trick play the defense never sees coming. If you're writing an essay on a specific theme and you can seamlessly weave in a relevant cultural point, a socioeconomic factor, or literary concept you studied in a completely different part of your AS level syllabus, you instantly signal to the examiner that you're a franchise player. You aren't just reciting facts, you are synthesizing a whole world of knowledge.
Moving into Section 2, the procedural framework. This is where we talk about technical execution. Think of this as your tactical playbook. You cannot just run onto the field and start throwing the ball around, right? You need a standardized sequence. Step 1. Identify the key elements of your prompt. Step 2. Apply the relevant syllabus principles. Step 3. Execute your analysis and show you're working clearly. Step 4. Verify your results against what the prompt actually asked. And Step 5. Present it in the appropriate format. If you skip even one of these steps, the whole play collapses. You have to drill this sequence until it's absolute muscle memory. Okay, time out. Before we talk about method marks, I need to make a quick coaching call. If you want to stay at the absolute top of the league table this exam season, hit pause, subscribe to Ace the Exams, and enable all notifications right now. Okay, timeout over. Let's talk about the method mark strategy. This is huge. The examiners reward your journey, not just your destination. By physically showing your systematic processing on the page, like laying out your logic step by step, you actually secure marks even if your final conclusion is slightly off target. Let the examiner see the gears turning in your head.
Now let's run a quick interactive drill. Imagine a 60-second shot clock. The examiner hands you a dense text or a complex data table. What do? You do not panic. You execute your data interpretation conventions. First, you strictly extract specific evidence. Second, you interpret the relationships between those data points. Third, you draw an evidence-based conclusion. No guessing, no gut feelings, just facts. And finally, you wrap it up with proper headings, correct Afrikaans terminology, and clear annotations. When Sam, our fast attacker from earlier, gets sloppy, this is exactly where the points bleed out. Stay disciplined.
I completely get that keeping track of all those technical rules under exam pressure is stressful. So here's a quick memory hack for you. Use a visual story. Picture yourself as a head coach watching tape. You extract the key plays, you analyze the relationship between the players, you draw a conclusion on how to beat them, and you write it down on your clipboard using official coaching terms. Just encode that little story in your mind, and you won't forget a single step when the clock starts ticking.
Let's move to Section 3, Examiner Warnings. It's time to study the opponent's defense and avoid the evaluation trap.
All right, we're going to play a quick game of Spot the Penalty. These are the top 3 red flags that examiners are forced to throw on candidates. Penalty number 1, confusing cause and effect. Students constantly mix up the root cause of an issue with its symptoms. Penalty number 2, forgetting format and presentation. You write a brilliant argument but format it like a casual text message instead of an academic essay. And penalty 3, the absolute worst one, providing generic, pre-memorized answers that completely ignore the specific context of the prompt. If you don't tailor your essay to the specific scenario they give you, you are basically playing on the wrong field.
Here's a massive examiner alert to write down. You must always define your key terminology right at the top of your extended response. If the prompt uses a heavy complex Afrikaans concept, take one sentence in your introduction to define what that concept means in the context of your essay. It literally builds a protective wall around your argument, preventing any conceptual confusion later on. It proves you are in total command of the game.
Take a look at how the examiners structure their assessment framework. It's a 3-tier ladder. The bottom rung is descriptive. That's just giving a basic summary. It keeps you in the game, but you aren't winning any trophies. The middle rung is analytical, where you're actively breaking down the components. But that top tier, the evaluative tier, that is where champions live. That requires you to evaluate alternatives, weigh different approaches, and provide highly justified recommendations. You have to take a definitive stance and back it up with armor-plated evidence.
And speaking of that top tier, let's talk about comparative analysis. When the paper asks you to compare 2 texts or viewpoints, you cannot just list what's the same. That's only half the play. A masterful essay balances both similarities and differences. You absolutely must use formal comparative connectives in Afrikaans to pivot between your points. And every single claim must be anchored to a piece of evidence. You compare, you contrast, and then you conclude on which side holds more weight.
We have made it to Section 4, the final strategy. Let's build your exam day playbook.
This right here is your game day preparation checklist. I want you to literally memorize these 6 steps. 1. Deconstruct the question so you know exactly where the defense is weak. 2. Extract the relevant data. 3. Select your analytical framework. 4. Execute your argument with absolute clarity. 5. Verify that your argument actually answers a specific prompt. And 6. Present it with flawlessly correct terminology. If Alex and Sam from our earlier tape had just followed this exact checklist, they would both be sitting at the top of the curve.
So, the blueprint is now officially in your hands. You know how to dominate the cognitive domains, you know exactly what penalties the examiners are hunting for, and you have the definitive 6-step playbook to secure those massive method marks. The only question left is, are you ready to execute? If this film review gave you the breakthrough you needed, I need you to subscribe to Ace the Exams right now, click that notification bell, and leave a comment below telling me your current tier and what your ultimate goal grade is. Keep drilling these concepts, execute the strategy, and I will see you on the next explainer.